And we're on. Hello and welcome to podcast episode 84 of Rope Boxing, where the 2 days bring you everything that's going on in the boxing world. Well, it wasn't a lot really from the last weekend. We've got a few previews, predictions, a couple of reviews, a bit of news as usual. So yeah, we're a bit later this week, guys. We're doing this on a Thursday. Any of you guys that listened any regular listeners know on a Thursday after fuck off to work. Dave's obviously just got in, so there's been a few bits and pieces while we didn't record Sunday or Monday. So, you've been a poorly boy, Dave, haven't you? You feeling all right now, mate?
Oh, I'm still getting over it, mate. I've had a bad case of the man flu. I had it a couple of weeks ago, but it lasted a couple of days, got over it. But this one, it was fucking anti-Joshua 4.0. That's what it felt like, mate. Fuck, mate. Tuesday, I was in no shape. Wait, Monday, I was in no shape to do it. Tuesday got worse. I was that bad. I worked from home yesterday. I pulled an old moody one. I was basically ill, but if I switched my computer on, I send a couple of emails every hour. I'm working from home. So I did that. I managed to get into the office today. Oh, it was a bad week, mate. A bad week. This was worse than childbirth. I'm telling you.
Any women listening, can you get in touch with the pod, please, and confirm that man flu is worse than childbirth? I think people are going to come here, Dave.
That could be the non-boxing question of the week.
He's gone straight in. He's gone straight in. He's gone straight in. Is man flu worse than childbirth? Whoa.
Yeah. I put this to the office today as it goes. We got an admin girl. She just had a baby as it goes, and I put that to her. I just got to roll the eyes like, what a dickhead. So I don't know if we'd ever agree, but I think we might win this poll, seeing as most of our followers are men. But yeah, throw it out there. Actually, even ask Becky. Imagine what she's going to say. But that's how it felt, mate.
Yeah, I don't need to imagine. I know what she's going to say.
Yeah,
last word begins with F. Last word ends with F, mate, as well. So yeah.
Not that I've given birth, mate, but it's got to be up there. So I'm going to throw it out there. I was that ill, but I've managed to pull myself together. We're at it today. And let's get ready to rumble.
Definitely get ready to rumble, mate. I was going to go on Monday's episode. We do our usual, don't we? What we've been up to the weekend, all that kind of jazz, having a few drinks. I was going to have a proper moan. I'm going to have a moan about the boxing anyway. What I saw at the weekend, just gone. I was going to have a moan about what I watched at the weekend in terms of sport, and I was going to go into, you've nailed it with the question of the week. That's fantastic. I was going to talk a bit about champagne and prosecco, but for time wise, I might leave that to another time. But I am a bit down in the dumps today, mate. I went to watch our beloved Stourbridge. I say ours because obviously we sponsored Daisy Clements on this podcast of Rope Boxing. They played an FA Cup game last night against Kidderminster Harriers. Now, for anyone that doesn't know or doesn't care, tough, I'm going to tell you anyway. We're in tier 3, Stourbridge and Kiddie are in tier 5. So it was a cup upset on the cards, if you like, for tier 5 to beat tier 3. But that's not the story, really. All the Stourbridge ex-players are now at Kidderminster. So there's a bit of history there. There's a bit of rivalry there. There's camaraderie between the teams and that sort of thing. I've got a soft spot for X amount of players that were at Stourbridge are now at Kiddie. And now obviously Stourbridge are my team. So I'm kind of in between the two, but Stourbridge will always be my girls. And we started off okay. We played well. We were the better team. We got caught cold, boxing terminology, and they went 1-0 up. Great strike. Managed to put it back to 1-1, and we got done on penalties, Dave. Yeah, I mean, my under-8s team could win a penalty shootout against an adults team. I'm not exaggerating. It's just the way it goes. It's just the FA Cup, man. It always comes up with magic, if you like. Not magic for my team, but I'm pleased for Kidderminster Harrier girls, especially the ones that I know on a personal note. And they've earned themselves about 7 or 8 grand, mate, which is a lot of money in the women's game especially in tier 5. And they're facing Blackburn from Division 1 in the next round. So good luck to them, man. So yeah, I'm on a bit of a downer, but I'm pleased for X amount of players as well. So.
Did I see something on the way home when I was looking for David McDonald stuff? And did the bird who scored for Stourbridge, did she leave the club today?
She did, yeah.
What the fuck, man? It's madness, isn't it?
I know. Leonie Joyce, yeah, she come on off the bench. She changed the game in the second half. She got the equaliser. She's our top goal scorer, and she's left the club absolutely gutted. But yeah, things change. People move on. She hasn't been there that very long. I don't know what's gone on behind the scenes, but I wish her the best of luck, man. But yeah, you'll have to come up soon, mate, and meet your sponsor and have a drink in the famous club and come and support the girls.
Yeah, I would like that, mate. Absolutely.
Definitely. So we touch on some more depressing things from the weekend. Well, I say depressing. You might have a different view to me. We've rarely spoke this week. You being ill, I've been busy doing other things. I haven't really kept abreast of boxing per se. For like, I haven't really seen anything of the Sonny Edwards and Gal Yafai fight week so far. So I'm hoping to catch up on that. But we will start from last week, mate. And as you can see there, for audio listeners, I've got the banner up on our StreamYard stream, and I've actually put there Eubank Eubank. Of course, I'm referring to Harlem Eubank. From Friday night, he was out in Newcastle on the main event. He took on France's Nurali Erdogan. Mate, this was 8 rounds, which was very odd for a main event on terrestrial television. Normally, you're 10 rounds max, or minimum, should I say. 12, I know there wasn't a title involved, but 8 rounds is very strange. I've got no idea why it was an 8-rounder. He's in a new weight class, which we didn't realise last week. As I said, he was the main event. He didn't have Chris Eubank Sr. in his corner. The opponent, I don't like to poo-poo because they do and we don't, but the opponent was rubbish. It was just a rubbish fight. I'm sorry, I've got to say it. Say it, mate. I think with this fight, Dave, I think Harlem Eubank's got to kind of forget this ever happened. He got the win. Yes, he got the win. I thought he'd done just enough, and that's pushing it. I think he needs to forget about this. I think he needs to get back in the gym, have a word with his promoter, have a word with his manager, and start getting busy for next year. Because that's I've got to say it, and I've got no bad ill feeling against Harlem Eubank at all. He's a fantastic guy, lovely bloke, very humble, doesn't trash talk anybody. But I didn't enjoy it. No. That fight on Friday night, mate. I thought it was rubbish and I thought it was boring. And I actually said on the previous podcast, I can't get myself up for that. And I have to do the right thing, not just from me, from all the boxing community that's been saying things on Twitter, social media, radio stations. It was rubbish.
It was an awful fight, mate. I'm with you. I absolutely hated it. It was holding. There was point deductions for holding. There's spoiling. For me, it was just a really bad performance. And I'd say, to be fair, in the last episode, I actually said I was expecting big things from him. I thought he boxed well in his last fight. When he, but it was like chalk and cheese. I don't know what this was. And the Sowlands have come out and boasted that it's the biggest viewed fight in Britain this year or something, because it's on terrestrial TV. It would be, but for me, with trinkets like that over it. You expect to set the world alight. All he's done is just turn off most of them viewers there, because it's for me. It don't seem there was any type of game plan. There was no going through the gears. Yes, you can have ring rust. I don't think he's been in the ring for 12 months, but come on, it's an 8-rounder on a platform. You say what you want about Channel 5, it's free, and people will watch it because boxing. If you don't have Sky, that's the only boxing content you'll get. Or the Zone or anything like that. And when you're in the terrestrial TV sort of market, it's a massive platform to put your name up in lights. Yes, he's already got a surname that puts him up there, but for me it was.
That's a major plus as well, Dave. The surname brings the up, but maybe that's why probably our mum and dad's age that eyeballs kind of went to terrestrial television on the Friday night. They might have thought it was Chris Eubank Jr. Didn't realise, left it on and had a nosy,
They would have just seen Eubank and thought, oh. And that brings it to anyway, which is a great thing to have. You've got to use what you got, and he's got that. But he's got to come into that ring and deliver. Now, I expected him to. I really did, because I can't say the name say his opponent was, and what I'm going on about. But before all the Adam Azim sort of stuff, when they stepped into the ring, he looked very, very good. And we were saying that the Adam Azim fight was a 50-50, all that sort of stuff. But you're going on this now, Adam Azim's come off the Hara Davis to now this. To what we've seen there, and it's almost like he's gone backwards. Now I know, listen, he's been out for 12 months, blah blah blah, but he's 30 years old now. He needs to be active. He has got some skills. You know what I mean? He can box, but for me, that performance has put him backwards. From on Saturday night, I thought it was awful. There was no trying to work his way into a fight. There was no sort of putting off combination. It was all clinching and holding and fucking messing around, falling on the floor together and all this other stuff. And it was poor. It was poor. Yeah, I don't really want to say this sort of stuff, but the sort of technique reminded me of this Misfit sort of stuff. It didn't look like a boxing match for me. This is the sort of stuff you get on them sort of antics, where it was just crap, mate. And I'm with you. I quite like him, but I
still like him. Yeah, just want to forget.
Yeah, it is. But I say he can't have too many performances like that, because he'll have no audience then, regardless of his surname, mate. So he needs to dust himself down. If it is ring rust like he claims it to be, okay. but he can't have another performance like that because he is better than that. But yeah, I don't know whether the weight was a difference. I don't know, but.
Well, he moved up, didn't he? I didn't realise
Yeah.
he moved up. So I'm guessing this guy, Erdogan, who they brought in, had like one knockout on his resume. So he was kind of a safe bet. See how you are at 147.
Yeah.
If you're comfortable, let's go there. He's clearly moving up in weight, I think, Dave. Whether he admits it or not, he probably can't make 140 anymore. So the talk of Adam Azim and Dalton Smith, which I was more or less guaranteed to say that the interview, the post-fight presser would be talking about that. They didn't mention him once. For one, they're not in the same weight class now. He's obviously moving up. He's moving up for a reason. Yeah. And as you just said, on that performance, he doesn't beat Adam Azim. He doesn't beat Dalton Smith. He's not really in the conversation. You go by their last fight, how they performed. What have you done for me lately, kind of thing. And he hasn't done anything for anybody lately. But it's literally one to forget. We move on now, but I'd like to see him a lot more busy. I don't know why he's only had one fight. Yeah, it's not good enough for somebody now. As you say, it's 30. It needs to be kicking on. He's 20-0 now. He's got the double figures. He's done 20. Let's fight someone now. I mean, Adam Azim and Dalton Smith are the names that have been surrounding Harlem Eubank, and he's got Chris Eubank Senior, with him from time to time, which does help to sell a fight and things like that. But what I saw on Friday night, mate, the other guys in the welterweight division, your British guys, if you like, Echo Esserman and Lewis Crocker, Paddy Donovan and Conor Walker, who fights this weekend, they would have beat that version of Harlem Eubank.
Absolutely.
As you just said, it's a setback. He's supposed to be kind of a level or levels above those guys at where he is at the moment, and we didn't see it. I mean, don't get me wrong, Erdogan was just as bad. He probably made it worse. He was very, very messy. I think he's an ex domestic French European champion, which doesn't mean a lot really, but yeah, there's not a lot more we can say about this, mate. I mean, Terry O'Connor doing the scores, not that it makes a huge difference. We normally have a big rant and rave about scoring, but he scored it 70-79 every round to Eubank. I mean, Eubank won but he didn't win every round.
No, did he fight?
All in all, it's crap.
Yeah. And exactly. And we've reviewed 2 fights this weekend, and you're hoping you're going to get some barnstormers, but no, it was a poor performance. Like I say, now he's up to welterweight. There was talk when old Senior was in his corner, Ross Clark Eubanks, that he was calling out Conor Benn instead of Chris Eubank Jr. Around that sort of time. But like I say, that you can't get up. He ain't going to get to fights like that with performances like that. It's a stinker. If he wants big fights, he needs to come out next time and put on a show. Because like I say, let's move on because it was bad.
Definitely, mate. Let's move on. There's normally I wouldn't say it's a floater. They normally have, we and David spoke about this before on Channel 5 cards. They normally have a fight after the main event. Take that how you want. Cyrus Patterson was on it, a local lad. Mate, he didn't look too much better than Harlem Eubank, I've got to be honest, mate. A local lad, local favourite. He went the distance with a Latvian bin man. Which was good, but a positive out the card. The actual card was started on Channel 5 Action, one of those Freeview channels and whatnot. So when I was at work, I actually put it on before it kicked off about 10:30. And talking about, we're coming up to the end of the year, so me and Dave will be doing our review of the yeyer. Yeah. And when we do a review of the year, we talk about prospects for next year. Obviously, we review what we've seen for our prospects we picked at the beginning of the year, Andy Cruz and Caroline Dubois and Moses Atuma for Dave. But I've been ticking lists. I've been making lists to pick my number one for this year. And there's a couple of Brits on there. And there's a guy that fought on Friday night called Dan Toward, Dave. Dan Toward is another local lad, Geordie lad, massive crowd, seems to be a massive ticket seller. His record now is 5-0, so he's literally a prospect. He had a tough Colombian dude in front of him, put him down 3 times, stopped him. Very talented, very skillful, very slick. Never missed a shot all night, and now I guess he's 5-0, and I guess the level opponent is poo-poo, but we all have to start somewhere. But the reason why I want to sort of give him a shout out is because not what he done, it's this manner of how he's done it. And I've gone back and I've had a look at his other fights, and he does look $1 million. He's literally one to pick out. If I don't pick him this year for my prospect of the year, he definitely makes a list for 2026. But yeah, Dan Howard is probably the highlight of that Channel 5 card, I've got to admit, mate. So there was a positive coming out of that. So that's that one ticked off. The next fight we previewed last week because there was only 2. Brandon Adams versus Andreas Katzourakis. I think I've kind of nailed his name now, Dave, by watching that fight. I've got there on the banner, ladies and gentlemen, Paddy the Greek advances to the final. So we referred to him as Paddy the Greek last week, Katzourakis, because we couldn't pronounce his name. It's only falls and horses terminology there. And as I've put there, Dave, advances to final, I didn't realise this is like a round robin tournament.
Yeah, it was like a Super Six, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think he won it, mate. I don't think he advanced to the final. I think that was the final.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He actually won it. That was the final. There was 3 rounds, and that was the actual final. I looked into it tonight on the way home. So it was like a super series.
I thought the other semi-final was this weekend. Anybody we can debate over. I'm not 100% sure.
No.
If he won the final, what did he get? He just had his hand raised and his interview and fucked off.
I might be wrong, but when I watched bits and pieces of it earlier, it showed the route and it showed them 2 in the final. I could be wrong. It's not the first time. It won't be the last.
No. Either way, we found out on.
It's a tournament. It's like a Super 6. Yeah.
It's a round robin tournament. Whoever the winner was, whether Paddy was the winner or whatnot, they're going to get something. Whether it's some sort of bullshit belt, financial awards, don't know. We spoke about this last week. We spoke about Brandon Adams having a touch of the Imbillies about him. Katzourakis looked like a bit of a puncher, a lot taller than his opponent. We said about the level of opponent he'd been in with, so we kind of went down the Brandon Adams route based on what we've seen of him and how he fights and big hooks, big knockout power, and what he'd done to Baranchik a few fights ago. Paddy the Greek, I'm still going to call him Paddy the Greek because I had to refer to my notes to pronounce his name. He had his hand raised by a split decision, Dave. Did you think he won the fight? I'm very close, but did you think
I've got to be honest, mate. I found it very hard to score.
Cool,
it was. I think the tactics.
Phone box for half an hour. I thought
it was, and I think the tactics from Paddy. I'm just going to call him Paddy. was correct. We watched stuff on Brandon Adams, and we were saying he's like in Billy, likes to come forward, likes to throw wide hooks. So what do? Very much like the Cepeda of last week. You put him on the back foot, you make him box on the back foot. They're no way as comfortable. Very much how I feel in Billy. You can beat in Billy. They look fantastic when they're on the front foot, but it's very different. They're not the best. They're not the same fight on the back foot. And I felt that that Paddy the Greek was pushing him back. The only thing I did think that was sort of he was spoiling his own work. He was smothering his work a lot in that fight, which I felt that may turn it in Adams' favour. But he was always the one that was pushing the fight, and he was always the one that was on the front foot for me and pushing Adams back. Yes, you got to have effective work in that as well, and he did to the bit at stages. But Brandon Adams was trying to push himself off and get his body and get his hooks in. But I found it very hard to score. I've got no issues with the result. I've got to be honest. I've got no issues with the result, and I've got no issues with it being a split decision because I could see, that was a really, really hard fight to score. It was, you had it there. It was a phone box fight, all action, constantly throwing punches, but literally on each other's chests, and so yeah, I feel for the judges in something like that. Obviously, we give them a lot of stick because some of the scorecards are awful, but that one is a pick and of actually what you like because they both tried their hearts out. They both had success, but someone has to win.
You're right. It was hard to score. It is about what you like, but I found their work very identical. The only difference with Paddy the Greek and Adams, Paddy was pushing him back onto the ropes and teeing off. Adams was quite happy to stand in the centre of the ring and trade.
And do you know what? In a fight with fine margins, the fact that Paddy the Greek was pushing him back can probably swing it, and I feel that's probably what it was.
You're right, mate. That was a brutal low blow in the second round, wasn't it?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I felt that.
There's no Usyk Daniel Dubois on that one, mate.
No, that's why I brought it up.
It was fucking hell. It was proper low.
Very low, mate. Yeah, I felt that. And I think Adams rocked Paddy, and I think around about the ninth round, that was the only sort of clear-cut shot you'd see that someone looked hurt. But yeah, I wouldn't say it was boring because there was action. They were back and forth. You felt I felt identical work. Yeah. But I've got to admit, mate, where they are in their career, where they are in the round, I know Katzourakis now will probably be put into the top 15 after that win. I don't think either of them really troubled the champions just yet.
No, not at all, mate. That tournament was almost like a B-level tournament for me. It's one of them ones. It's a bottom half of the Premiership sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. You're right there, mate. Yeah, it's bottom half of the Premiership. You're right. So yeah, good luck to whatever they do next. Brandon Adams and Paddy the Greek, names to remember it in the future. Performance of the week, mate. Do we need to bother? Are you going to pick one out? Or my performance of the week, you know what? I'm going to sort of poo-poo on boxing. I watched the UFC on Saturday afternoon with me ham sandwich and a cup of tea. Some of the knockouts over there were fucking amazing. Brutal. Really good cards.
I see a Chinese or Japanese bird or something get absolutely That was worse knockout than Ricky Hatton Pacquiao. For me, but I say she was barely breathing. Like I thought, fuck.
She went to hospital. Yeah, she was not cold for 4 minutes.
Yeah, like I say, the only thing that moved on her was her lips to try just to breathe. It was, like I say, I mean, I like the UFC. I'm not great, but the knockouts on it are fucking brutal, man. The whole thing's brutal.
Yeah. But I'm going to stay with boxing. My performance of the week, as I said, will go to Dan Howard because he's made me right. He made the list for me of prospects coming up. So apart from that, it's not a lot to choose from. You got to pick one as well, brother. Where did you go?
Can I pick myself for managing to get out of bed because it's probably better than Eubank fight.
Oh, by the way, talking of that, just let's quickly go back to the intro when we spoke last week about Eubank fight and whatnot. What you're going to do at the weekend? Wasn't last Friday the start of your Christmas piss up weekend? Wasn't that the start of Ryan Ritchie's birthday? And you've got one next week.
Oh yeah, so it was. Yeah, actually, it was. Yeah,
I bet you wish you never caught up now.
Yeah, I met them on the Friday, and that's when my downfall started. I got in about 1 a.m, still with my computer on my back. Like I had my little backpack with my fucking laptop in it and everything, walking around the streets in the fucking middle of the night.
In London, you're a very brave man.
I know, yeah. But I've got a bald head and all that. That's why I won't go around with a skinhead. They tend to leave me alone. But but when I'm wobbling all over the place, maybe they think they've got a shot. But no, it was nice to see everyone, as it always is. Got a bit pissed in Hammersmith. Came home, got home about 1. It was a bit ropey, but it is the start. So it's the only time I had a drink the weekend. But it's now the start. Like the Christmas parties are already coming in. I think I've got 4 of them now that I know of. And also me and Emma Dolan, friend of the show, friend of ours. She was speaking to her last night. I'm going to the fight.
Fair play, man.
So she got my address. She posted me the tickets now. So they're good enough to come on here. And I do say if you're in London, I'll come down and see you. So we are. So me and Alf going there on the 8th to watch Emma Dolan. So. That's
fair play, man. Fair play. Anyone that's listened to our interview of Emma Dolan and a few of the other female boxers that we talked to, they've always got a habit of saying, "I'll come and see you when you're down in London." And he stuck to his word, man. You're going to support her, and we'll review and preview our fight as well.
We definitely will. Like I say, you know me anyway. I go to a lot of fights anyway. I've been to York many times.
But saying and doing is 2 different things.
I know. But I'm glad as well because also, could we? Don't say we know them, but we've had a chat with her and all that sort of stuff. We speak to her on Twitter and that, so it's nice to go and see someone that you feel like you know. Because I'm claiming we're friends now. She'll probably think something different, but she was good enough to be on here, and we've chatted beyond here. Do you know what I mean? So it's nice. It's almost like you're going to support a friend, like.
Yeah, and she's had fights fall in the past where she can't sell enough tickets, and it looks like we've got the go ahead.
Well, it helps them as well. We've spoken about with all the women, and they've got to sell tickets. They don't make any money. It's costing them. So for us to go, and I love boxing anyway, to get out and if it helps them, then great,
Definitely. Good luck, Emma, and we'll speak about you next week, mate. Now the De La Hoya hunt update. Obviously, we started. Michael Hunter hunted. We had him in the bag. We've done the Bakoli files. He's still nowhere to be seen. He's talking in Congolese. We had the vote on our Twitter page. Who's Dave going to hunt next to get a follow? Obviously, it was Oscar De La Hoya, and it's time for the update, Dave. How are we looking on the De La Hoya update?
So he's not been as active since Riyadh. So because he's got nothing to promote, but he has done a couple of bits. I've pressed him on Twat Tuesday. I've not seen anything on that. He done his clapback Thursday. Do you know? Because obviously I'm stalking him now, so I'm getting into this. You see his clapback Thursday. His actually clapback Thursday videos are not on his Twitter or Golden Boy's Twitter. You know what he does? He makes them. He puts it up and he lets the other outlets send it all round. Okay. So if you actually go onto his Twitter, you won't find any clapback Thursday videos on there. So there's one there. So now you know that I'm stalking because I've looked at this. So because I wanted to comment on his clapback Thursday video, so he sees my comments and we go, yeah, he's a prick and all that to try and get a follow. But so I'm trying to work my way around that. Also, what he does as well, sometimes he turns his comments off. So
yeah, he does, yeah.
Yeah, so Ryan Garcia's fighting some sort of fucking guy, unsanctioned sort of shite. I don't know what it is.
Wasn't that the guy that fought Pacquiao in that exhibition and tried to
it could well be.
Sure
anyway,
is,
De La Hoya is his promoter. So De La Hoya's put out something saying that this fight can't happen without Golden Boy. He's contracted to us, blah, blah. So this fight's not happening until we sign it off. But he sent that out and there was no comment. So you couldn't comment on it. I was like, oh, fucking hell. But I have commented on a few of his other little bits and pieces on there to try and get a little bit of a... So, like I say, I can get excited by De La Hoya because De La Hoya does put bits out. So, yes, I haven't got... So, long and short of it, I'm working on it. I haven't got a follow as of yet, but I will get one from him. I'm confident.
Early days, though, innit? We were doing Bacoli for weeks on end with nothing, so...
Yeah, but yeah, De La Hoya, especially when De La Hoya's got something to sell, he's double active. So, again, my timing for picking these guys is always off. I picked Bacoli after he spanked Anderson, and now he's like, you know, for him, he's the champion of the world. And then I picked De La Hoya the weekend after he's just had a big show in Riyadh. But listen, once he's got something
timing is key. Timing is key, brother.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's a work in progress. So yeah, that's where we are, mate.
Yeah, timing is key, and timing right now for your dongs.
And it's David McDonald and the dongs. I'm going to go black here, people. Right. So apologies for the pause. Right, here we go. There's not much on. I'll tell you what, we're talking about news. There's not much on at the moment because there's loads of misfit shite going again, like Darren Till, which I ain't talking about. That just went whole through the timeline. But what did come up was Jai Opetaia will defend his IBF Cruiserweight World title against Husseinian Sin Cara on Wednesday, January 8th in Australia. I'm a little bit underwhelmed, Mr. Graham. I've got to admit. Again, who else does he fight if he's not fighting Ramirez? I know he needs to get one in before. You know, it's the nature of the division, but again,
I feel sorry for him a little bit. I feel sorry for Jai because that's twice now he's had mandatories to deal with, and if he doesn't defend, he has to vacate. Yeah. They're kind of like, I wouldn't say targeting him, but it's like as soon as he wins that belt, right, you've got to have this mandatory before you can go and do X, Y, and Z what you want to do. Yeah. And I was always under the impression that unifications and undisputed title fights always trump mandatories.
Yeah, they should do.
Literally a soundbite. It's a cliche. It means nothing. Well, we know that anyway in boxing, mate, because it's made up as you go along. I kind of feel sorry for him. No one wants to see this fight. Let's hope the guy's obviously paying his sanctioning fees. It's an ordered fight. It's a mandatory. Good luck to him. He knows the rules and signed up for it. But no boxing fan wants to see this. We want to see Jai Opetaia in there with Zerlo Ramirez to unify the division and only leaves one belt left. So let's hope he gets in there, blast him away, and then we can move on. So yeah, IBF being a bit cuntish, I think, but
yeah, they are.
Are the rules? Who knows?
To be fair, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because we moan about the sanctions, what they do. IBF don't take no shit. They'll strip you if they tell you they're going to strip you, really, and they call them mandatories when we moan about, like, you know, people sitting in the rankings forever being interim and all that other stuff. So out of them all, the IBF do sort of, and whether you like it or not, they do. They are the ones that sort of semi-stick to the rules out of them all.
Yeah, it's a good debate as well because obviously, like you said, they are sticking to the rules. However, it's for a world title. This guy that every boxing fan has to go on Google or BoxRec to look up. Is he worthy of a world title shot? The level of opponent he's been fighting. We've done this with Janibek, didn't we? Even in a weak division, Mikhailovic. Was he worthy of challenging Janibek for a world title based on the level of opponent he's been fighting? No was the clear answer. He got in there, he got absolutely beat up. But because he's paying his sanctioning fees, because he's fighting, who's put in front of him, he's working his way up the rankings. It's a hard one to argue, but I personally, it's not the fight we want. Let's be totally honest. And he's your guy, so
yeah. The thing is, as well, though, if it was flooded full of talent and it was more of a name, you'd be okay with it. It's just the fact that he's not a name. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, it's a hard one. He's in a rock and a hard place, Opetaia, because you have no doubt that he wants the big fights, but he has to go through these motions to get there. Right, let's see what else we got. Right, sorry.
The thing is with that as well, obviously saying news as well, with Opetaia, Dave, he seems to be with his IBF belt, he seems to be giving mandatories instantly, where you see Canelo holding 3 of the other 4 belts, so we even have the 4.
Oh, yeah.
How does that work?
That's what I mean. Some people could, like the Charlos, can sit on a fucking world title for 2 years.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I know, mate. Yeah, it's one. That's where they let themselves down because it's one rule for one and one for the other. So Opetaia's fighting mandatories every other fight, and the Charlos don't even have to have a fight in 3 years. So this is where they let themselves down, and this is why people get frustrated. But moving swiftly on, announced George Kambosos Jr. has signed a co-promotional deal with Eddie Hearn's Matchroom alongside Lou DiBella and Ferocious Promotions. So Kambosos is out. Is he being fed as an opponent these days? You know, for Eddie Hearn, Eddie Hearn's got to be in this day where he can control what he's doing with him, and he puts him in. And he's a name still, good fighter. But, you can make big fights with him. So is he being signed for that sort of thing? Possibly.
Mate, it's a weird one because it wasn't so long ago. I'm not putting their words in Eddie Hearn's mouth. I'm not quoting him. When he fought against Devin Haney, not once, not twice, when he was co-promoting Devin Haney, he more or less said Kambosos Jr. is rubbish. Yeah. So now he's jumped on the bandwagon of co-promoting George Kambosos Jr. Yeah. And he'll give us a load of spiel, whether he fights that he's still got something left, he's an ex-unified world champion, all the rubbish that comes along with it. But I applaud Eddie Hearn as well, because I was having a back and forth with someone on Twitter the other day. The Liam Parrow versus Richardson Hitchens fight, which is next weekend's coming up. Obviously, Parrow being Australian, George Kambosos Jr. moving up in weight. They want to make that fight in Australia. Creates eyes, creates numbers, creates coin for him. I totally get it. But then I'll go down the route of Jack Catchall. Should him calling out those fighters? He was supposed to be promised a fight. So to have George Kambosos Jr. on your resume as his next unit, he's not an undisputed world champion, as people keep saying. It was a franchise belt he won. It wasn't a full title belt. He was a unified champion. Yeah. I wouldn't say he's living off that because he takes on all comers. He's a very active fighter. But to have that name on your resume in this day and age looks fucking good. Oh, it does. Liam Parrow to have it on his resume or any other matchroom fighters looks fucking good. So from a business point of view, I get it. But don't sell me a pup. George Kambosos lost to Maxie Hughes. He's on the downward spiral. He put up a good fight against Lomachenko, was beat up and stopped. Yeah. But, George Kambosos Jr., for whatever he is, whatever he's worth, however the terminology you want to use, he's still gamers, he doesn't back down from anyone. He still goes in, but the name does carry a bit of credence, if you like. So I totally get it. But I was having a back and forth with a few guys on Twitter. It was mainly based with Jack Catchall, because I might be tethered with that now because he's going backwards yet again. But signing Kambosos Jr. as a business model, if you want to use that again terminology, I think it's great for Matchroom. But he did more or less said he was rubbish, but that's promoters for you. They just talk a load of crap half the time anyway. So that's why I don't take.
It's a Sam Jones moment, mate, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is. Sam Jones telling Regis Prograde that he's spanked Jack Catchall, then he goes with Jack Catchall. There's no, it means absolutely fuck all.
It's fuck all, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mate, as long as George Kambosos, gets the fight said Eddie wants him to have, he gets himself paid. I'm all for it, but we can go on a tangent in who's to face who next at certain belts. George Kambosos Jr. moving up in weight and getting a title shot straight away, and all different bits and bats like that. I'm dead against, but it's prize fighting every day, every man for himself. But nothing against the guy, but come on, he could be cannon, a good name as cannon fodder. Yeah,
absolutely. Announced, Pat Brown has signed a long-term promotional deal with Eddie Hearn's Matchroom to fight on DAZN. Team GB Paris Olympian will make his pro debut at cruiserweight in 2025.
Mate, I've seen all the stuff on Twitter. I've seen the promotional videos going around. I've seen Eddie talking and things like that. But in my shopboxing fans, even though we class himself as hardcore, I've never watched him fight, Dave.
No.
So I'm getting the sound bites. I look forward to seeing him making his debut in Manchester. That's where Eddie's trying to put him next year. Look forward to seeing him. But apart from that, I've never watched any of his amateur fights. I don't know a huge lot about him, even though he's a name. He's a popular guy in Manchester. Yeah. Everyone knows him. He fights at one of the gyms in Moss Side. So they're all good sound bites, if you like. It all sounds very, very good. They're very pleased to sign him. Eddie was saying that loads of people are putting their hat into the bidding wars to get Pat Brown. So it all sounds very, very good. But I can't comment on something I haven't seen. So I will just look forward to seeing what we get with Pat Brown next year, mate.
Yeah, like I say, it's exciting because we can follow a journey from the start. We like doing that on here and seeing where it goes. I say I've seen little bits through the Olympics. I'm not going to claim that that I watched his fights. I've known him for years. I've seen odds and sods. He looks like they all do. No, the Olympics, he moves very well. You know what I mean? So he throws a good shot. But pro boxing is different, and some people come from the Olympics and go on to be great, and some people don't. But like I say, it's an exciting journey to see it from the start. I mean, Olympians like Luke Campbell, who was the golden boy of amateur boxing, won everything you can fucking think of. Yes, he had a good pro career, but he didn't become world champion when he was expected to. So there's that there's that trinket to it. So yeah, it's exciting. We get to follow him for his debut, and we'll probably still be doing this podcast when he retires. So we'll get to do it from the beginning to the end.
Hopefully, we're making money off this podcast by the time he retires, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go. Hamza Shiraz is reportedly set to challenge Carlos Adames for his WBC middleweight world title belt on the 22nd of Feb in Saudi Arabia. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole card for Saudi Arabia.
No, time-wise, I haven't got time.
No, but if it's true what's coming on it, it's the best card I've ever seen. Yeah. Fact, I'm throwing it out there. I'm not, and I'll tell you what, I'll tease our listeners and viewers, because we do both now, with the fact that this card is unreal if it's true. But I want it to be fully announced first before I make a big song and dance of it. But going back to Hamza Shiraz, Carlos Adames, before the old talk of him fighting Yanni Beck, we would have said go down this route. He's an easier champion. Yeah. So he is. He didn't really need that back and forth with Yanni Beck. I don't think it was really needed. That could have come after, but it's one of them.
Yeah, we said this would happen. He'd go down that way. It kind of makes sense. It's an easier fight than Yanni Beck. It's not an easy fight, but it's an easier fight, I think, than Yanni Beck. Grabs that belt and he could go and unify the division. I think there's talk of Chris Eubank Jr. calling that Lara as well.
Fuck. You know what? Until I see him in the ring, I don't want to talk about that with Eubank, because I've seen this shite so many other times before.
But again, it's the most avoided man, the danger man, the best 160 on the planet, not getting any fights.
No.
And he's calling motherfuckers out all the time on social media. Yeah. I've no idea what Top Rank or his management team are doing. I hope to see Yanni Beck fight once a year next year with a mandatory that no one cares about. It's another guy like Mikhailovich who doesn't deserve to be in the ring with him. It's just the guy's wasting his career. It's time. He might be time for next year to kind of move on and give him to go somewhere he's appreciated and he can get the fights. Well, I don't understand why he can't get fights. I know it's a weak division, but Hamza Shiraz now is getting himself a world title fight, and hopefully it will lead to the Yanni Beck fight. He can't get the Lara fight because of him being with PBC. This Eubank fight won't happen because he's a PBC fighter. Al Heyman will want to be, obviously Chris Eubank Jr. is a name, but he'll want Adames, and rightly so, to be the A side and get as much money as possible. And he ain't letting him fight on over this side of the pond. So it's sound again. I keep using this new phrase of mine, sound bites. That's literally all it is. It won't happen. Hopefully Lara can fight Yanni Beck instead. It's a much better fight.
Yanni Beck's the worst promoted fighter in boxing currently.
He is, man. Definitely.
Without a shadow of a doubt, he is. And we love Bob Arum, but he's doing absolutely fuck all with him. And it's terrible because his career's just fucking wasting away. And what's going to happen? He'll start getting big fights when he's on the downward slide.
If he can't make money from him, fucking come to some sort of agreement, he can release him from his contract and he can go away and do his business somewhere else on another promotional card where he will get fights, he will get busy, and he may get a legit fight, But he's just wasting his time. I think he's wasting his time.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. The WBO have now officially ordered Arnold Barboza versus Jack Catchell for a final eliminator to determine the next mandatory for Teofimo Lopez. Parties have 20 days to agree to deal. You can't see my face. Hang on, I'm coming back on. No. This is my face for Jack Catchell. Right. Mate. Yes, it's a decent enough scrap, but fuck me, how many more fucking times does he have to do things like this to get a fucking fight with a champion? For me, it's just they're just going round the houses, one after round and round the fucking. Honestly, I'm getting bored and sick and tired of it now.
I say for time wise, I haven't got, because we've got our previews coming up as well to go into this. But all week I've been backwards and forwards. I've been tagging Jack as well in certain things. I don't get the guy. He's not the easiest sell as it is.
No.
But we've seen Eddie Hearn in his last fight against Prograis. We've seen Sam Jones in his last fight against Prograis, and we've seen Jack. The next fight will be, or has to be, he deserves a world title shot. And he's been since Barboza won over in Saudi. Jack Catchell's been trolling him. I'm like, Jack, what the fuck are you doing? He's a number one contender, but he doesn't hold any belts.
Yeah.
You're with a promoter who's the promoter of Richardson Hitchens and Liam Parrow, who's fighting each other in Puerto Rico. You're with the same stable. You go and get a voluntary. You open your mouth. You challenge them. You call them out, or you call out the other champions. Yeah. Why are you facing a fucking eliminator? It makes no sense. And again, I'll keep using this word. It's going to be the in thing. Soundbites. He must get a world title shot. He deserves a world title shot. It should be next. Means absolutely nothing. He's going down the Barboza route, and I'm losing interest. I'm really a good fight. Yes. Is it the fight I want to see? No.
No.
You said world title fights. There's 4 separate world champions there.
Yeah.
Why are you going down an eliminator route when you don't have to?
Yeah, I know.
I just don't understand what the route he's going. He wants a world title shot. Get it. Do not troll Arnold Barboza Jr. on social media. Troll Liam Parrow. Troll Teofimo Lopez. Troll the other champions. That's what you want. That's what you've told us. That's what your management have told us. That's what your promoter have told us. Don't get it, Dave. I don't get it. You're going to have to be the B-side to an extent because you're going to be fighting against a champion. Go and show us, go and show the world, the boxing community who back you because you are a world-level fighter. Go and get that fucking belt and then come back and take on all challengers like Arnold Barboza Jr. I don't get it. I honestly do not get the mentality of Jack Catchell and Matcham and Sam Jones at the moment. To be fair to Sam Jones, he hasn't said a lot. No. But Jack Catchell was constantly trolling Barboza, and we're going through another eliminator. And we said after the Prograis fight, didn't we? I fear that he's going to go get another eliminator or another keep busy before he challenges the champion. It's rubbish. It's bullshit. And I just don't get Jack Catchell's mentality. Sorry for the rant. I'm a Jack Catchell fan, by the way. But
I was going to say, I thought you weren't going to rant.
But you get what I'm saying, don't you?
It's so frustrating. He's so frustrating, and I say I'm getting bored of it. That's why I say I was pretending to fall asleep there. I can't. I say I want to see him out. I want to see him act. I want to see him in champions. But I mean, this will be a final, and then there'll be someone else, and it'll be another final. It'll be a final. Fucking, and I can't be asked.
Move on.
Yeah, move on. Right. The IBF have now officially ordered Martin Bakole versus Efe Ajagba as a final eliminator. Final.
Crying out loud.
Determine the next mandatory for Daniel Dubois. Ajit Kabayel and Jili Zhang reportedly both declined, but they're set to fight each other on 22nd of Feb in Saudi Arabia.
Again, I don't know what the story is with Martin Bakole and people ducking him. This is a rubbish fight because Efe Ajagba walks in straight lines. Martin Bakole will take him out within 2 or 3 rounds. Rubbish fight. No one wants to see it. We want to see Bakole in with either Daniel Dubois, Jili Zhang, Joseph Parker, or Ajit Kabayel. No one else is good enough. Unless you want to throw AJ in there, but no, not for me, mate. Not this is why. We've got so much money on the table now. He's been on Uncle Turkey shows. He's been swallowing wasps and knocking dudes out. He must be now given a pot of money to say, well, I'll pay you this. What opponent do you want to face? And I'll pay him that. Mate, surely every other heavyweight on the planet can't be scared of Martin Bakole. Come on. What's going on? What's going on?
I just don't understand how he can't get fights. I don't understand it. Like I say, he's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong, and he's hard to beat. But he doesn't. He's not scary. Like he's beatable. Michael Hunter beat him. So I just don't understand it. And it does look like ducks. It really, really does. Again, I'm getting bored of it because his manager and promoter Billy Nelson's on there going they're ducking, and he's probably got a fucking point. Like, but again, it gets to the point now. It gets to the point now where people start getting bored and getting turned off with it all. He's come off a great win against Jared Anderson. He will do a better job on Efe Ajagba than he did on Jared Anderson, and he's absolutely smashed him in 5 rounds. Yeah. So, again, and then what happens? We go another 6 months of who's going to fight him next. People put it, and it just rumbles on and on and on. And that, again, I'm bored. He's going into the Jack Catchell fucking thing for me, Bakole, and it's probably not his fault.
It's not him. I don't think it's him. No, I don't think it's him. It looks like opponents, other promotional companies, other management teams, and I have heard through the grapevine that maybe Bakole sort of asking for silly money as well when his name isn't as big as what he thinks. But there again, I'll go back to talking about Turkey Al Sheikh putting on the best fights in Riyadh at the moment on current form. Martin Bakole is one of the best fighters on the planet because of what he's doing and the manner he's doing it in. So he deserves his shot at a world title or an interim world title for whatever that's worth. But the Efe Ajagba fight, man, that's a rubbish fight because we know exactly what's going to happen. And Efe Ajagba's going to get starched early. He's not on the same level as Martin Bakole. We've done enough Efe Ajagba fights here, and we've always been sort of critical of him that he doesn't do his head moving, doesn't make any shapes. He's a big tall robot that just throws a big right. It's not a good matchup. If it's good enough for Bakole to keep busy, then I'm all on the train. And for Ajagba because he's a professional boxer. But as a boxing fan, there's better fights out there for Bakole. There's more dangerous fights out there. There's more fights with jeopardy, and there's fights fans want to see, and that ain't one of them.
No, I totally agree, mate. Yeah, can't get up for it. Announced, Derek Chisora will face Otto Wallin in a heavyweight clash on February 8th at the Co-op Live Arena in Manchester. So it was meant to be Jarrell Miller, but that's fell through, I think, to do with political shite.
Yeah, and Jarrell Miller called his promoter the most dirtiest guy in boxing or something.
I know he did. You reap what you sow, mate. Reap what you sow.
Reap what you sow, yeah. Fun fight for Del Boy. Two fights left, mate. Haven't got a problem with it. He's not going to go on and win a world title unless he fights the winner of Manuel Char and Kulet Prulev from next weekend. Let him get to 50 and call it a day. But yeah, haven't got a problem with it because I just literally class it as a fun fight. No one's going on here to win anything else. They're just going to get paid, have a boxing fight, and entertain the fans, hopefully, mate.
It depends on what Otto Wallin turns up. Because if it's Otto Wallin that turns up with AJ, then Chezora's got to. Couture's probably going to walk through him. But,
that's what I mean by a fun fight. I'm not expecting Couture to do anything.
But what I'm saying is, if it's the Otto Wallin we predicted before that, where he's up on his toes,
the Gassiev fight.
He could stink the place out.
The Gassiev fight.
Yeah, it could stink the place out if he boxes and moves. Because if he boxes and moves, Chezora's not going to lay a glove on him. It could be one of two fucking ways here: a fun fight or a fucking stinker. But either way, we'll watch it.
Yeah, true.
And then to end it, which is, I don't really want to end it on this, but it's the last piece of news of the day, and it only came through to today at 11:20. UCAB have confirmed that they will not be appealing NAPD's decision to dismiss the charge over Conor Benn. Benn now fully clear over his positive drugs test from 2022 and free to fight unless VADA appeal. But so. I mean, I'm confused with this chart anyway, and I'm sad to end David McDonald on this.
Today, sorry, mate, you're giving newsreels today that I've got hours worth of debate and talk about them, and I've got to go to work soon.
No. The only thing I'm saying is that they said he was guilty. It was never proved that it was guilty, and then so he said he's cleared his name.
And the eggs,
and then they said they're not appealing. So all it's going to do is that no one's ever going to know this now. But it's going to look like he was innocent all along.
We'll never know how that substance got into his body.
No.
But
they now use that as well. They didn't appeal it, so they must not think it was true. And that's how we leave it now. So anyway, moving on from that, mate. That is the end of David McDonald and the Dongs.
Thank you, kind sir. Prediction League. From last week. Let's back on. It was 346 points to me. It was 376 points to Dave. Going into last weekend's boxing action, if you can call it that. 30 points difference. Eubank versus Erdogan for whatever it was worth. Dave went for the KO. I went for the points victory. So Dave picks up 1 point and I'll pick up 3 points. Adams versus Paddy the Greek. We both went for Adams, so nothing there. So it's got to be the lowest scoring Prediction League ever on this show, with myself on 3 points and Dave on 1 point. So making the scores going into this weekend's action. Myself 349 and Dave on 377. Pulled it back to 28 points. Game on. I sound enthusiastic about that, don't I? I know I'm not looking to back by the end of December. So we'll crack on to the 3 fights we've got to preview this weekend, guys. On Saturday night, should I say, at the Results World in Birmingham. That is the destination. And we've got Sonny Edwards versus Galal Yafai in the main event, 12 rounds in the flyweight division. Now, when we've done our preview, our end of year review, this was one of the fights that I think either myself or Dave called for. I think it might have been me being high on Galal Yafai and talking about pushing him through. We've got it. This is one of the best domestic fights I think Matchroom have served up to us this year. It's a brilliant fight. I can't wait for this. I think Eddie said they've sold about 7,000 tickets, which is absolutely brilliant for a Birmingham card. It's a great domestic clash, as well as being a world level clash. Well, we know Sonny's world level, Dave, because he's the next champion. The only guy to beat him is an elite fighter in Ban Rodriguez. We don't know where Galal is yet. I believe he is better than British, better than domestic, and we will find out on Saturday night whereabouts he's in his career. And he's against the best of the rest. So we've got Ban Rodriguez up there with the pound for pounds, and then you've got the best of the rest, which in the moment is Sonny Edwards. There's a bit of history here, mate. It's been classed as the bloodline fight. There's been beef between the brothers in the past. I think Galal and Sonny are good mates, to be honest. I've seen stories of them sparring over 100 rounds. They had an amateur fight back in 2015 where Galal would more or less just come into boxing. Sonny got the decision on a split, very, very close. This is a great fight because I've heard people this week talking about Galal Yafai being a puncher, which I totally disagree with. He is a bigger puncher than Sonny, there's no question about it. But he's an Olympic gold medalist against a former world champion. He can fucking box. The dude can box. And this is his first 12-rounder. We've been high off, certainly I've been high Galal Yafai, and we found with his certain fights, Dave, because he's so far in front, because he's coasting, he switches off.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can switch off against Sonny Edwards. Sonny Edwards ain't going to stop him. That's a fucking fact. But Sonny Edwards could possibly school him. But still, I can't wait. This is a brilliant fight, brilliant matchmaking from Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. There's a bullshit interim title. Don't care about that. Whoever wins this will has to face Bam next, depending on what Bam does, because Bam's the man in the division. So this is, as I keep saying, the best of the rest. But how excited are you for this one, mate? And how do you see it going? There's so much to pick out of it because there's so much. We know what we're getting from Sonny. Sonny is a world-class fighter. He's slick. He's like a bit of a matador. And then you've got Galal Yafai, fast hands, fast feet, comes forward, doesn't miss. Buzzing for this fight. Can't wait.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to this fight, mate. I think I called it earlier in the year that I was hoping it'd be for a world title. But again, it doesn't change the excitement for the fight for the British fans anyway, especially for us. I think it's going to be a chess match. I think their skill sets are so good that it's going to be the battle of the jab. It's going to be a battle of the footwork, movement, for me, it's going to be a real chess match. It's a very hard fight to call when you're saying your skills. I think it's going to go down to a couple of things which I'll put into it as I predict the fight. So they're so very skilled. I wouldn't call Yafai the puncher in this at all. Again, I'm with you. He probably does hit harder, but for me, it's not stopping power for me. I do feel like and probably deservedly so. This is a massive step up to what he's been in with. So if you are calling him a puncher, you're calling him a puncher at a certain level. Again, like you said there, he switches off in fights because he can, but he's going from, B level to world class It's a massive jump. And, in any other sort of fighter, you'd be concerned that maybe it's a step too far at this stage of his career. But if you're looking at his amateur pedigree and everything else and the way that they move quickly in the pros, it's the right time. I feel they're both going to have moments in the fight. But I feel it's going to come down to one thing. And I'll say it now for my prediction. Experience. I feel like that, he's never done 12 rounds. I don't even think, I can't even tell you what the maximum is. Is it 8 rounds or whatever he's done? This is a massive
10,
yeah. I feel that the experience will be the key in this. Like I say, their skill sets are very similar. They box very well, they move very well. It's very hard to split them when it comes to that. So I'm going to put it down to old dog experience, being in world title fights, being, even though Sonny Edwards got what, he got beat badly by Bam. Again, it's still experience. He had to get up off the floor. He had hard times. He came, he tried to fight back, and he got stopped. All that sort of experience comes into it. Yafai's never had any of that. Now, I'm not saying that Sonny Edwards has got the capability to do to him what happened to Bam, but experiences in the ring get you to a certain point in your career, and I feel that extra experience may be the difference here. So I'm going to go with Sonny Edwards to win on points.
Yeah, I can't disagree with anything you've said there, mate. I think you make perfect sense there. As well with Galal, because he's come into the pro ranks quite late. He's 31 now. He's still younger than Sonny Edwards. That's crazy to believe, to be honest. He's only had, he had 6-7 fights, whatever it is, Galal. So he's got a good 5 years left. He should be in his prime now. So some people are saying it's too early. Some people said he's missed the boat. All kind of opinions going around. But we're here to see the best fights made, and on a domestic level and a world level as well. Let's see how good Galal Yafai really is. It won't define his career if he loses to Sonny Edwards. Of course, he won't. You just said Sonny Edwards is a world-class operator. But I don't think he can beat him on points. Sonny's too slick. I just called him a matador there. I think Galal Yafai's his ring IQ, even coming in from the amateurs to the pros, and his generalship still good enough not to be a ball to a red flag, if you like. He's got skills. He knows how to navigate his way around a ring and things like that. But experience is key. The 12 rounds is key. And the only way I think Galal can win is by stoppage, mate. That's the only way I think he can win. Does he hit hard? His record suggests that he can hit hard. I haven't got box rec in front of me. I think he's got about 6 knockouts and 8 or something like that. So down at flyweight, he's probably one of the bigger punchers. So yeah, I'm going to go for it, mate. Galal Fight to stop Sonny Edwards late. I'm going to go round 9.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to go round 9. And to be honest, Dave, I'm an Edwards fan. We always champion him on here. But I'd be a bit of a hypocrite of me to sort of wax lyrical about Galal Fight, say he needs this fight, he needs big fights, and then to go against him. So I've got to stick with the guy who I sort of championed earlier on the year. So he needs to be tested. He needs to. I think he's better than the British and domestic and European level. So here we go. Here's the fight. Galal Fight to stop Sonny Edwards in 9 rounds, mate.
Listen, anything's possible, mate. You know, it's feasible. So yeah, and that's what I love this, because you know, opinions. Everyone's got an opinion on it, and everyone can see. I can see exactly what you mean. You know, yes, I picked Sonny Edwards, but obviously anything can happen, and I look forward to it, mate. Be great for on Monday when we talk about it.
Definitely. Let's rush through these two then. On the same card, all 3 fights on the same card in Birmingham, guys. Highly thought of prospect Cameron Vong. He's stepping up as well. If you want to call Galal stepping up to Sonny Edwards, most people do. He takes on former British and European champion Gavin Gwynn in the lightweight division. He's 6-0 now, Cameron Vong. We spoke about him a couple of weeks ago. He's very skillful, very slick as well. He makes nice shapes. He looks the business at the moment. He's got the look. He's handsome. He's cocky. He's good on the mic. He comes from the same gym as Dan Tower, who I spoke about earlier as a prospect. Big step up this is for him, being 6-0 into his 7th fight. It could be his breakout fight on the domestic scene on Saturday night against Gavin Gwynn in only a 7th fight. I'm liking a lot what I've seen from Dave. Gavin Gwynn, on the other hand, you know, he struggled against a 48-year-old Italian in Emiliano Marsili last year. It's only because Marsili hurt his shoulder. He was probably losing that fight. And most recently, we've seen him get absolutely beat up and stopped by Mark Chamberlain over in Riyadh. He's 34 now. His prime's behind him. Based on his last 2 fights, it looks like he's starting to decline. I think Matchroom may have pulled off a coup here, mate, by making this matchup now. The younger man sort of taken over from the older man. Gavin Gwynn on a domestic resume, as we talk about George Kambosos Jr. earlier, looks absolutely brilliant. I think Eddie's got it spot on here, and I'm going straight in here. I think Cameron Vong is, again, another one of those prospects I've ticked off on my list, and I believe he's going to do the business. I think he's going to break out one of his breakout fights. His actual domestic breakout fight on Saturday night, mate. I think he stops Gavin Gwynn, and I think he stops him again in the same round number 9.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've to and fro on this, because part of me thinks is it too soon? Because I mean, 6 fights is very soon, and I have to and fro with this.
Mate, what you've seen of Gavin Gwynn the last 2 fights against a 48-year-old. Let's be honest, he's 48. Yes, he never lost in his career, the Italian guy. But the way his management team and who he's fought outside of the West in Italy and things like that, very well managed. And obviously going in with Mark Chamberlain, who at the time, pre-Josh Padley, was a killer. Yeah. I don't like that version of Gavin Gwynn. No, go back about 2 or 3 years ago, I'll be saying it's far too early for Cameron Vong. But
that's why in predicting this, that's what I nearly got caught up in. I nearly looked at the Gavin Gwynn of old, and like you said there, a year or 2 ago, I would have said this is too soon. And I nearly went down that route, but I've got to go on his last couple of performances, and there's massive decline for me. There really, really is. Like, you know, so I've got to go with my head instead of my heart. I have to and fro with this all day and thought, could it be the last dance for Gwynn to come in there and say, hang on a minute, you're a pup to me, and then go through him. But I just don't feel he's got the legs. So I've got to go with you, and I've got to go with a younger, fresher man, and I'm going to go for Cameron Vong in round 4.
Yeah, I could see it happening, mate. 4, 9, 5, 2, whatever. I think he's one of our best prospects in the UK. I've got to be honest, mate. If he doesn't put on a show, well, I'll sit here on Monday saying maybe he wasn't ready, but I can't have receipts here to say I think he is ready, even that early, because he has looked that good. I think matchmaking is brilliant for Matchroom, and hopefully we're going to be proved right. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, Conor Walker. He's on this card. Briefly spoke about him earlier. From what I've seen of Conor Walker, I think he would have beat that version of Harlem Eubank. He's on this card. He takes on Lewis Ritson over 10 rounds in the welterweight division. These guys are both coming off losses. Walker lost to Lewis Crocker, which I thought he was quite hard done by. I think I remember predicting a draw, and when me and Dave done our review, I said I still believe that Lewis Crocker didn't beat Conor Walker that night. And Lewis Ritson went in with Paddy Donovan around about the same time, a week before, a week after, and Paddy Donovan got the job done. It looks like Paddy Donovan and Lewis Crocker will be meeting very soon next year. So Conor Walker, Dave, he's that small, front-footed stalker, loves to throw, high output, so I'm losing my voice, high output, likes to trade, good engine, never in shit fights when we've seen him. Lewis Ritson was a big prospect years ago when he beat Robbie Davis Jr., been inactive of late. He tends to fade now. Starts really well. Tends to fade. He's lost his last three he's lost his last 3 and 5 fights, should I say? Conor Walker's never been stopped. I'm quite surprised that Conor Walker's only got the 3 stoppages of how much he does throw and how much he comes forward.
Yeah.
Maybe that's to do with the level opponent he's been fighting against. Better level opponent. He's a bit of a pit bull, if you like, for me. So this is quite easy. And no disrespect to Lewis Ritson, Conor Walker is a fucking nightmare for fighters that are coming off the feet or fighters that are sort of on their way out, or even prospects that don't want a hard night's work. Yeah. And Conor Walker will stop Lewis Ritson on Saturday night. I'm going again, mate. I'm going round 9.
Yeah, I totally, I do agree. I think
I like Conor Walker. I think he's an exciting fighter, and he's not spoken enough about enough on the British scene.
I think but I like Lewis Ritson as well. I remember when he was doing the British Champions and he was going for all the British prospects, and it's all
gone wrong for him for some reason, Dave. It's all gone wrong for Ritson some reason. I don't know how or why.
You know what it was? Pushing him too quickly. Now I know he won the British title outright, and they stepped him up to European level, and he wasn't quite ready. And I don't think he ever recovered from that. He got absolutely. There was a bad defeat that night, and it can happen. And I don't think he ever truly recovered. Now he's an opponent. But I've got a soft spot for Lewis Ritson. But I'm with you. He starts fights very well, and you think, hang on, here we go. He's rolling back the years, and then he fades. And I feel that's his downfall. I feel if he can keep his stamina up, keep his composure, and go to full 12 really well, he's a good enough fighter. But I don't think he's going to be able to keep Conor Walker off of him. I think he's going to start well, and then I think Conor Walker's going to go up through the gears. And it'll be one of them ones where he stopped on his feet, Lewis Ritson. I don't see a conclusive knockout. I can see him being, he's taken enough, being too brave for himself.
Bit of an RTD coming in.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be. I can see this being one of the fights of the weekend. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to start. I think the first 2 to 3, 4 rounds will be really, really good and really, really, to and fro and really action packed.
Yeah.
But I just feel that Lewis Ritson's going to fade late, and I think it's going to start happening round 7. I think Conor Walker's going to stop him round 7. He's going to step up the pace, and it'll be too much for Lewis Ritson, unfortunately.
Yeah, the 2 or 3 times we've reviewed and previewed Conor, so much reviewed Conor Walker, I don't think I've seen him in a shit fight.
No.
He's excited fights because of the way that he fights, and he's got a great engine, and nobody really talks about. You just nailed it there about Lewis Ritson. Starts fast, does well, and then fades. He's not going to be able to keep up with the strength. So much the strength, but the strength, the endurance, the stamina, and everything else that goes along with that with Conor Walker. I do think it'd be one of the fights tonight, and I'm really looking forward to it. So they're the 3 fights that kind of stand out on this card on Saturday night, ladies and gentlemen. We've given our previews and predictions, so we look forward to that. I've got to go to work, so we're going to just do a couple more bits and bats before I go. So our non-boxing question of the week. Obviously, Dave's come up with the question for this weekend. Or this week coming. What was it again? It was to do with
what is worse, man flu or childbirth?
That's it. That'd be going on Twitter ASAP, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously,
that might make us go viral, that question.
I hope it does. I hope that's written all over it, mate. But our previous question from last week, our non-boxing question of the week, I had to get my phone out for confirmation. The question was asked by Dave to the masses: what's more annoying, queue jumpers, chewing with mouth open, full volume on phones in public, or thick people? And the winner by 37%, well, with 37%, should I say, is queue jumpers.
Yeah, it fucking is happening.
A rope-a-dope boxing fact voted by the masses. The worst thing, the most annoying thing we hate, ladies and gentlemen, is queue jumpers. So you've got your fact there, Dave.
Yeah, and that's very British, because I don't think anywhere in Europe or anywhere else in the world they actually bother queuing. It only annoys Brits because we actually stick to the rules. But it fucking winds me up when I go in stations every day and we walk upstairs, right? There must be 20,000 people walking up the same stairs, and then there'll be people coming from round the sides of the stairs to go up. And I'm thinking, we're all going the same fucking way. I'm just getting miserable with old age, but it's so annoying.
Yeah. It's even worse when you're in a queue in Wetherspoons as well, isn't it?
Oh.
In a pub. That used to really annoy me. So you'd be waiting there for ages for it to be patient to be served as a Brit, and then another Brit. It doesn't have to be a Brit. It could be anybody. They just come up, put their arm on the fucking bar with a £20 note when we used to pay cash. Put their arm out and say, "Oh, love, I'm next." She literally ignores you, goes straight to him. You've been waiting for fucking 15 minutes. And you look at her gone out. Because we're British, we don't say anything. She notices the eye contact and then she goes, "Well, you're going to have to say something, or I didn't notice you there, mate." And I'm like, okay. Next time I'll shout and scream and cause a fight. But that's your fact, mate. Queue jumpers, we fucking hate you in the UK, man.
Yeah, correct.
So, yeah. As usual, mate, anything else to add before we fuck off and say our goodbyes?
No, mate, you get off, mate. You got work. Weekend-wise, I'm not doing anything, so there's nothing to report. So I've got a kind of quiet one because for the whole of December, I'm out about 10 times with work. So there'll be plenty of stories then, mate. So, yeah, not a lot this weekend, mate. Just gearing up for the Christmas period.
Lovely, jubbly. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for episode 84. Like, share, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Like and subscribe are very, very important. The numbers are growing on YouTube, which is great to see. And that's the way forward I think most of us will be going. The more likes, the more subscribes, gets us noticed and viewed, especially as boxing fans. And then you can tell all your mates about us, your mum, your dad, your cat, your dog. And yeah, do what you've got to do on socials as well. Do what you've got to do on Spotify, on Amazon and Apple with your 5-star reviews, algorithms and all that. You know where to go, ladies and gentlemen. So until next week, have a great weekend. Stay safe and enjoy the bloody boxing. Dave, peace out, my old brother.
Take care, mate. I'll see you on Monday.
Yo.
Bye, mate.